Hey the internet, this is Lock. Did you ever wish that an MMO world didn't revolve around you? Would you rather not have greatness thrust upon you as the protagonist in someone else's story? Fantasy stories do it because, that's classically how stories work. RPGs do it because that's how fantasy stories work. MMORPGs do it because that's how RPGs work. Other MMORPGs do it because that's how other MMORPGs do it. Why don't we try to examine why MMOs work first and build from there? There are plenty of MMOs with fun and engaging storylines, like Star Wars The Old Republic, that go out with fully voiced cutscenes that can quickly draw you into shorter story arcs and help you relate to characters by showing rather than telling. You even get to decide how your character reacts to certain situations. Guild Wars 2 does a similar thing, placing the player as the protagonist in a constantly unfolding story of global significance. But despite the positives, there are some people who criticize MMOs that dedicate a significant portion of their resources towards this effort, and frankly, I am one of them. It's not that I don't appreciate a well-crafted and well-delivered story. My favourite non-MMO games of recent memory have all been notable as high achievers in this regard. But, again, creating an easily exhaustible solo experience is certainly not playing to the strengths of the medium of MMOs. Every MMO player knows it's not possible to create content at the pace players consume it, so creating non-repeatable content feels like developers are casting something into the wind while simultaneously shooting themselves in the foot. It feels like a hangover from the classic RPGs that inspired MMOs, games that revolve utterly around the player character. Nothing important ever happens without their express input or at least presence. It is of course classic storytelling, and there's nothing wrong with it. Star Wars would have been a lot less interesting if Morpheus hadn't rescued Arthur Dent from his muggle aunt and uncle, if you catch my drift. But, again, if the selling point of MMOs is hidden in the acronym, isn't this a massive waste for a multiplayer game? The other end of the spectrum is also represented. Games like EVE Online that treat story as if it was an inconvenience, acting as a cosmetic veneer just thick enough to justify the existence of the in-game universe, which again is totally fine, providing the platform, tools and motivation necessary for the player drama to unfold is a noble goal in the same way that delivering a well-crafted story is. It also has the added bonus of reducing overhead, so spaces can exist for more niche tastes, which is good for everyone and certainly seems to be an emerging trend. But, in my view, it still doesn't quite strike the ideal balance as far as presenting the player with a world in which to get lost and have an adventure. The pure sandbox is often held as an ideal, but in a way that's just as artificial as a force-fed story. After all, real life doesn't work like a sandbox either. There's often a certain sterile feeling to the way players interact with the world, and the juxtaposition when you consider it next to the interaction of players is really striking. But one thing they do tend to get closer to, in my opinion, is allowing players to share unique experiences that intertwine with the experiences of other players. And that seems to be something really worth reaching for. The idea that as a player in an MMO, our stories and experiences have value precisely because they are part of a much larger web. We're more important precisely because we've been decentralized in the narrative. While sandbox games certainly allow you the liberty of being decentralized, they often miss the opportunity to create the feeling of being part of a functional world. Maybe I'm splitting hairs, but to me there's a difference between offering a platform to work on and a stage to play on. The feeling of being part of a larger system is exactly the kind of feeling that can be leveraged into a feeling of ownership, feeling invested in the fate of your virtual environment. And it's my belief this is sort of the point of all RPGs, and that the MMO is the medium with the most potential to deliver it. But so far it's been a little tunnel visioned when it comes to deciding how best to achieve that feeling. So please let us know, what do you think? Is there a game that has achieved this balance so far? I know someone's gonna say Swig. I know that AI systems in EverQuest Next certainly moving in that direction, trying to create this idea of a functional world that the players inhabit. I don't know. Am I completely wrong? Is a very story-driven experience the only way to deliver a meaningful narrative in a massively multiplayer environment? Is the purity of the sandbox, like, in your opinion, is that already achieving the goal that I'm talking about here? Please let me know if I'm wrong. I'm always interested. And if you thought this was a worthwhile experience, maybe just click on the like, because that's a nice thing to do. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for, I guess, more of the same. So thank you very much for watching. You're all very special and rare, delicate flowers to me, even if you aren't in your MMO of choice. Cheers. Bye.